Hello, everyone. Welcome back. With the newest update coming to Enlisted, the test server has added in the new anti-tank guns that are going to be available in the higher BR matches. If you guys didn't know about this, basically, the higher BR games were a little messy because we had low BR anti-tank weapons for some of the factions, but not for others. Like, we had the Pack 40 for the Germans, but we were still using the M1 AT gun for the Americans, which, doesn't really do a whole lot against things like Tiger. So they've added in the 17 pounder. They've also added in a low tier anti-tank gun for the Soviets, as well as a low tier anti-tank gun for the Germans and the Japanese. So basically, if you're playing one of the Axis factions, you're going to have the Pack 40 and the Pack 38. I think the Japanese actually have their own low tier anti-tank gun, but they'll have the high tier Pack 40, which is what they already had. And then if you're playing as the Allies or the Soviets get a low tier anti-tank gun of their own that I'm not going to be showing here because it's basically the same. If you're the Americans, you're going to have the M1 anti-tank gun here. And if you're playing high tier as the Americans, you're going to have the big 17 pounder. And just to show off to you guys that have been playing, like, what is the difference here? If we look at the M1 anti-tank gun, right, if we're in this, and I've set up a little test scenario here. Let me back this up so we can hit everything. There we go. So you can see, obviously, we can take on this decently. This is a Panzer IV-H, which I believe is a BR-4 tank. And you can see, like, yeah, we can pin this thing, right? It's yellow. We've got some spots for green on a couple weak points. But overall, it's not really that good of a shot, right? It's going to be the same thing on the Tiger. We've got yellow, which means, yeah, we might be able to pin. We might have that. It's basically a 50-50. We're not going to be able to pin anywhere on the King Tiger except a very lucky shot into the machine gun port. On various things. It's the same thing on the Panther. We have a shot into the MG port, but that's really risky, and you need to be really close to be able to do that. And so you can see, like, these high tier tanks here, and even this Panzer IV, that's kind of like a mid tier, low tier vehicle. This AT gun really doesn't cut it. But if we come over here to the 17 pounder, we're going to be able to see that it's a lot better, right? This can immediately blast through anywhere on this Panzer IV, easy peasy. We'll be able to pin anywhere on the Tiger, as you can see, right? Even through the turret, everything's green, very easy. The King Tiger, however, still operates the way King Tiger would, is that it's pretty much unpinnable from an anti-tank gun. But remember, we're also going to be able to pin this thing from the side, which the M1 anti-tank gun isn't going to be able to do. So we have a little bit more weak spots. There's one in the turret. There's a little bit of yellow in the turret. And then, of course, in the machine gun. The King Tiger, though, still remains pretty goddamn dominant, as it should be, right? The King Tiger is kind of a ridiculous vehicle. And then as for the Panther, we can pin it in the turret, right, pretty easily. And that's standard Panther weak spot, as well as the machine gun port is a lot bigger. And there's just the standard upper front plate is a lot easier to pin. And we can now go through the lower plate as well, which might get you, the transmission, or maybe, net yourself even a kill, possibly. Overall, you're, using the 17 pounder is just it's gonna up your anti-tank capabilities just a little bit. It's still not gonna let you deal with stuff like the King Tiger. You're still gonna need to flank that with your anti-tank gun. But you're gonna be able to take on most vehicles a lot more effectively. Now, as for the Germans, they were already using the Pack 40 for the most part, so there's not a whole lot of difference. We can look at the Panzer, or at the Pack 38. You can see, obviously, we can't deal with jumbos basically anywhere. We can't deal with these Pershings anywhere. KV-1, I believe we can go through the driver. Yeah, we can go through the driver hatch and through its side cheeks and things like that. And then the IS-2, again, I don't think this is the better IS-2, so it has the better armor. So I don't think we can go through it anywhere. Yeah, it's even a little angled for us, so definitely not able to pin that anywhere. So that's the Pack 38. But it should do fine against all low tier vehicles. Maybe a T-34 might give it some trouble, but I think even T-34s can go through the turret. As compared to the Pack 40, which, again, the Germans have been using. And you can see it's the same thing as the Americans. You can't really front pin the top tier vehicles like the Jumbo. You're really just not able to get through this armor. It does give you a couple weak spots for the Pershing. You can see down here in the bottom, which is actually where the Pershing keeps its ammo rack, which is really nice. You're going to be able to go through maybe the turret, maybe the machine gun, but the big spot is right down here in the bottom here, because this is actually where they keep their ammo. So it's going to detonate it every time. You can see in the top right, for some reason, all that ammo is stored right on the bottom, which just gives you such an easy, clean kill. KV-1, same thing. Easy to just pin through this like it's nothing. You can go through basically anywhere on this thing. Typically, you want to go through the turret here. That'll just knock out the whole crew. And then you can go through the front plate here, and you'll be good to go. And then finally, the IS-2. Again, you can see you can't really pin anywhere on the IS-2. right? Even with this pack 40, which again is how it is with the Germans and for the Allies as well. You can't go through the King Tiger. You can't go through the Jumbo with these anti-tank guns. You really need to bomb those if they're frontally attacking, or you need to deal with them in other ways, maybe through the new guerrillas or building an anti-tank gun or something like that. I think you might be able to go through the cheeks of this. Maybe it's gray there. Yeah, it looks like that did pin. So yeah, you can go through the cheeks here, but that's going to be kind of a rough shot. And again, that's kind of the rule of thumb, is these mainline tanks, the best of the best tanks, like the King Tiger, the Jumbo, and the IS-2, they're really not you're not gonna get a whole lot of, gain out of using these anti-tank guns against them. They're just too strong from the front. You need to flank them. But these will help you out with the lower tier vehicles like the Tiger, the Panther, or the Panzer IV and things like that. So yeah, these are coming with the next update. I just kind of wanted to show them off a little bit because I was personally curious about that, and I knew that if I was curious, I was kind of wondering what you guys would be curious about. As far as I know, these are going to be able to be built by engineers as well as your bomber squads, your anti-tank squads, excuse me. I'm not 100% on that. Maybe if a helper could clarify, but we'll see what ends up being like that. I know I've heard some rumors that they want to lock it to just the anti-tank squads to give anti-tank squads a little bit more use in Enlisted, because right now they don't have a lot of use, but I'm not sure that they've actually openly said that. The patch notes just straight up say that they've added them to the game. So we'll be seeing those in a future update, which will be pretty cool. But otherwise, yeah, let me know what you guys think about these. I'll give a little bit of a kind of see it a little bit from the side. I do love the 17 pounder. I just think it looks so cool. Just such a cool looking gun. The little baby M1 over here, nothing compared to the 17 pounder. I almost wish they gave it like its HVAP ammo. It's APD. It's not HVAP. It's armor piercing discarding Sabo, so APDS. Then it would be able to go through a King Tiger, which would be pretty cool. That's what the Firefly gets. So maybe they'll end up doing that. I personally think that they should do something along the lines of like limiting the amount of HE shells that these things get. And then making them kind of more dedicated anti-tank vehicles, right? Give them like APDS or something like that. But yeah, either way, Pack 40 also looks pretty good looking. I like that it's got a lot lower of a profile, which is neat. But either way, yeah, guys, let me know your guys' thoughts on these down in the comments below. While you're there, like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. It helps me out. And without anything else, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.